Hello, everyone. Welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD. And today we'll be reviewing and analyzing chapters 339 and 340 of My Hero Academia. Gonna be super real with y'all. Totally forgot that 339 came out. Like, I started reading 340 and I was like, why do I feel like I'm missing something? And I went back, I was like, oh, I missed a chapter. So that was kind of cool. Honestly, before I started doing this whole YouTube thing, I wasn't really the biggest fan of week to week reading. Sometimes I would do it, but more times than often I would let them build up. I especially feel like certain manga are way better binge read or like read in like multiple chapters than individually. And right now I'm going through a really weird rough patch with My Hero Academia. I don't want to say I don't enjoy it anymore because I do enjoy it and I'm very curious where it's going, but I've lost a lot of the like enthusiasm and excitement I had for it. And I'm kind of just treating it how I treated like, like Bleach and like Fairy Tale towards its end, where it was like, hey, I've been reading this for quite some time. Let's see where it goes. So anyway, if this is your first time on this channel, please like, share, subscribe. Would mean the world to me. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, I don't think I will in this video, but I will be using clips and scans from the manga. This goes under the umbrella of transformative content. So YouTube, Suecia, I would appreciate it if you didn't fuck me. And anyway, without much further ado, let's get into the review. All right, guys. Chapter 340 of My Hero Academia, How We Became the Greatest Heroes, Part 3, I believe. I'm actually starting with 339. This was actually my favorite chapter out of the two chapters I read back to back. Honestly, I think I've developed a bit of a crush on Hatsumi. I don't know why. I don't know like if she's always looked like she did, but I don't know, something about her made her look cuter to me. I think maybe part of the fact that she had a cover art where she had like a cute little dress going and she had like little mechanical angel wings. I don't know, maybe something about that did it for me. But I think a majority of it was her personality in this chapter. It was super cool. So anyway, we start off the chapter a little bit after we left off last chapter, which I forgot what happened, and I started laughing when I remembered. Where like basically like Deku fell into some titties, and basically Deku and Aida are there to get their stuff repaired slash replaced, right? And so, long story short, Deku requests like basically she's a little bit surprised that Deku's there, and she's like, why didn't you go through the usual channels? And Deku's basically like, those channels aren't available right now because there's a fuck ton of shit going on. And Deku low key, high key gets a little bit rude. And Deku's one of those people where when they do something rude or whatever, I'm not bugging about it because I know that it's not coming from a place of malice or vitriol. Like it just kind of slipped out, like he didn't mean it. But he spends a lot of this chapter basically insinuating that like Hatsume is an airhead and it must be so nice of her to be like consumed with, building stuff and like making arts and crafts while, like the heroes and the hero students are out there fighting. And so I really loved what ends up happening because basically she tells Deku and Aida straight up, oh, I don't have the time, the materials, the specs to make you the latest greatest whatever this is, whatever that is. And like it took me so much by shock because I do know this character. I do know that this character is super into crafting, is super into being a support student. So I was just like in my head, I just chalked it down to there's just too much shit going on right now. Like I know that she's apparently invested in the barrier, that she's probably like the top support student. So she's probably involved in probably maybe dealing with pro hero equipment, as well as maintaining the barrier, as well as maintaining any other security measures that UA has I don't know the word I'm looking for, taken into effect, okay? To essentially protect the students and defeat, the villains. And so I was just geeking because I like how the mangaka tried to do it comedically, where she's like, nope, and she's just walking away. Same with Ida, nope, can't do it, don't have the specs for your armor, just walks away. And while they're talking to her, she's just like fiddling with something, and then next thing you know, she has stuff for Deku and Ida. And I just love that because I knew that she wouldn't just leave them hanging. I did for a second think that, the apprentice or the other students were gonna make something for well, I had two theories. I had two theories. One was based upon like what we were reading in the manga, where that the students that offered to make it would do it. They were probably, how you have, your TA, and then like the TA probably has like people she tutors and she mentors. I thought that they were going to be mentors of her, and we were going to get like tertiary characters that were like dope support characters in their own right. Yeah, their works wouldn't be as good as hers, but they would work in a pitch. My theory was that she didn't have their exact models, but because of the nature of who she is, she basically has been tinkering for a while. Like, maybe while Deku was gone, being Dark Deku and stuff like that, and Aida was after him and whatnot. She was like, I remember that Deku kid. I always wondered if I improved that thing I gave him last time and added this and added the functionality of that. Okay, blah blah blah. I'm gonna throw it in this pile, and yeah, whenever next time I see him, I'll give it to him. I hope he likes it. So I thought that maybe she had, you know, made something already and set it aside for him, and that's why she was being so nonchalant, so like careless, kind of like yeah, it's not a big deal because like she's like, I don't have this, but I have something similar, comparable, and I hope it works out. But this was like what ended up happening was kind of the best of both worlds, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Where essentially it just showed her prowess as a support student, and also I kind of like the fact that she was a little bit kind of respectfully like put some respect on my goddamn name. So basically, she sits down and basically with like one hand, it seems like, makes Deku a pair of gauntlets. Like now, I'm kind of disappointed because from the description and everything that happened and everything I just said, it kind of seems like, they're not going to be top of the line, the best quality. But I think once again, when you have a genius in a series, you shouldn't sleep on something they make. Like if Frankie or Vegapunk from One Piece makes something, you shouldn't sleep on it. If what's that dude's name? The head scientist. I want to say Matsuri, but I feel like that's someone else. The main scientist in Bleach or Orochi. Like just you get my drift. When someone of that caliber makes something, even if they tell you, oh, it's not that great, you have to understand that there's some like humility going into it as well. And so I think that's kind of what's happening where she's like, oh, it's not the latest or greatest, like blah, 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 but it should do. Because, I think Deku got that gauntlet from someone else. And like I said, I really do think that Hatsume is like a hidden gem in UA. And we're going to find out the gauntlet is dope. Either that or Deku has more control over his powers so he can rely less on gizmos and gadgetry, right? We even saw earlier in All Might's, here Silver Age and stuff, he used to use gadgets in his like golden age. I forget which era like how the eras work, but in his more recent tenure as a hero, he didn't use, gadgets and like gauntlets and stuff like that. So I think we're gonna get something like that with Deku where he's kind of evolved past that. Like, yes, the gauntlet's going to be nice, but he doesn't have to rely on it so much. And I just really love how the chapter kind of ends with her going like, this is how I help. This is my way of being a hero. Being support squad is important to me, and I can't go out, I can't fight villains, but what I can do is work on this barrier, make these weapons and gadgets for you, and that is how I fight. And that meant a lot to me, and it kind of made me a little bit mad at Deku. Once again, I get where Deku's coming from. I know it wasn't intentional, but he did kind of come off a little snobby, a kind of rude to my girl Hatsume, trying to basically insinuate that she's not taking things serious, that she's an airhead. Oh, it must be nice to just be so fixated on your toys and whatnot. You don't know what's going on when it's kind of the complete opposite. She's so fixated on what's going on, she's diving in her work to make sure that she is doing everything in her power to assist and make, you know, the hero's success come to fruition. So I really like that. Next chapter, 340. Long story short, we're back to something I'm not the biggest fan of, and that's, you know, the interrogation of Ayama, however you pronounce his name, you know, Twinkling, whatever. And long story short, actually, this I'm gonna review the latest chapter a little bit like shorter than I did the previous chapter because I didn't really like care for this chapter. Long story short, Aizawa basically tells him, "Hey, man, doesn't matter what you want, doesn't matter how you feel right now. We are going to use you to trick the villain association, right? The League of Villains." And basically, you know, Ayama says, you know, basically, you're doing what the villains were doing to me. And I was basically like, yeah, I mean, that's just how it is. And you could say we're no different, but this is just something important. And you're a student of mine. And, you know, things are going to change for you. And I really love that this was said. I really love that this was said. This was so important to me because, yeah, Class 1A was being very juvenile. They're being very naive. I don't care about power of friendship and whatnot bullshit. You know, he betrayed you guys. If he wasn't found out, many lives could have been lost. He could have let All For One infiltrate UA. Like, really bad things could have happened because he betrayed you guys. And so for everyone to kind of turn a blind eye to it was something that I was very happy to find out in my like earlier review and talking to some of you guys that none of you seemed really cool with. So I'm glad that as readers, we were all, you know, bonded and united in that because that, let's just be honest, that rubbed us all extremely the wrong way, right? So I'm glad that like Aizawa doubled down and kind of just said that like, hey, like screw what they said and screw them being all like blissful, like this is the real world. You really did something, and I can't guarantee that, you know, you're going to have a place at UA after that. And honestly, that's totally reasonable. And I think Ayama also realizes, yeah, that's reasonable as hell. Like I get that. But I do like how Aizawa is like, but you will help us because I'll be damned if as my student, as someone I raised, this is the end of the road for you. Like, no, you're my precious student, you're my precious, you know, underling. And you know what? Like maybe you do, you know, this is the end of the road for you, which by the way, we all know it's not. You know, if they do save the world and whatnot, they're going to forgive him. Like we know that. But basically what Aizawa is doing is giving him a chance of redemption. He was like, I'm forcing you to do this not just because, you know, we need you to do it. I mean, obviously they need him to do it, but so that you have a chance of redemption. So that if it's the last thing you do, you stood with us. Your last moments before you either got thrown out the academy or whatever happens, your last moments are that of a hero, and no one will be able to take that from you. And despite your betrayal, you will also have been involved in, you know, the end of the villain era, or like, you know, squanchy Rick and Morty. Anyway, the squanching, I don't know what word I was going for, but let's just say the squanching of, you know, the League of Villains and stuff like that. So that was really interesting. I like that. It's something that helps me take the medicine down a little bit better of, okay, we're just gonna kind of, you know, Pussyfoot sidestep this Ayama thing. Speaking of with Pussyfoot, we have one part of the cat superhero group. I forget their full name. She had the search quirk, however, that got taken from her. However, she's still trying to do her darndest to help out the heroes because basically, you know, as someone who had the quirk, she's probably best to know how it's going to be used against them. So that's why they have her on board. I thought it was super cool that we saw Mount Lady. Mount Lady was over there talking to the students and preparing them for essentially what's a war. And what I thought was cool was in the beginning of the series, you know how like the students are like just first time students, rookie students. She was a rookie pro hero. So basically, like, kind of, she's at the beginning of the series, she was at a little bit past where I want to say Deku and them are now. Like, except she was graduated. Like, they're still technically in school. So I think it's cool how, like, in the beginning, she was kind of, I don't want to say a joke. She was never a joke, but it was her premiere. She was in it for, I don't want to say the wrong reasons, but clearly she was trying to get some notoriety, some celebrity. And it seems now she's really matured. She's become more of a vet. I think she's kind of what's the war hardened. So I thought that was really cool to see. I really enjoyed that as well. And something that I'm super excited for that it looks like he's setting up for the later chapters is we're being told that the best course of method right now for this war, no more guerrilla warfare, no more like tag, no more secret plans. Like, it's now or never, we're going after each other. The plan right now is to split up all the villains. And I am super excited for this. I'm hoping that this is essentially going to be My Hero Academia's version of, like, the Sasuke retrieval arc, where we had, all the like, we had Neji, Shikamaru, Choji, a bunch of other people, Kiba, have these one-on-one fights with the Sound Ninja, right? Or, Enies Lobby, where, like, that's one of my favorite moments in all of One Piece history, where all the Straw Hats got really, really big, important individual fights. They grew as fighters. They developed, we saw them develop new techniques and defeat the strongest people they had come up against yet. So I'm really excited for this, because I know at the end of the day, the culmination of this is going to result in winning by teamwork, right? Like, that's what the whole theme of My Hero Academia is: teamwork, 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 friendship, friendship, friendship. It's a shonen. It's not going to change what it is. But I do really look forward to this. I do think it's gonna be super cool to see the students have individual fights. Not only am I looking forward to, Todoroki and Bakugo and Deku, like the main guys, but I really want to see, the invisible chick. I really want to see her pop off. Like, you're class 1A. And I know that in this world, being a hero, being one of the top heroes, isn't about your battle prowess, just about your battle prowess. It's about, like, rescue and all that stuff too. But, like, she's class 1A. I need people like Minata. I need people like the dude with the tail. I need people like Sugar Rush. I need people like the dude that can talk to animals to prove that, like, they deserve to be in class 1A. That, like, when the chips are down, they can save us. They can protect us. Because of right now, it's been like, the top three, four, five in class 1A, and then the rest of them. And they're just like, Uravity, like, she's cool, her power's cool, but what makes her 1A material? Can she stop, some of these huge threats? And so, like I said, I'm super excited for the one-on-one fights. We get to see how far the students have come since Deku has been gone. We get to see if they've developed any new powers. When I say new powers, not like a new quirk, but a new application of their quirk. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens during this. Earlier I talked in, like, a review several, like, 2 months ago, about how where we might get help from the other school in the, I forget, UA is in the east and this other school in the west. So I think it's the school in the west, how they might be coming through, and, like, how the principal made, like, these teleportation tubes, not teleportation tubes, but these transportation tubes. So it looks like they might be able to get help from, like, the wind dude and, like, I forget the other people, but, like, the strong people from the other school. So I look forward to seeing that. So I think we have some really, really cool chapters ahead of us, and I'm really excited for that. Anyway, and this chapter leaves off on a super swaggy note. We have the homie, the one that can control you if you respond to him, right? Is it the dude that can control you, if you respond to him? Yeah. Doing his best Spider-Man pose, repping for Aizawa, because Aizawa's out of commission right now, which I'm wondering how he's gonna be now. He's missing an eye. His power more or less is really simple. As long as his eyes are open, he's looking at you, you don't have your power. But I feel like, having one eye open, you don't have that field of vision as much. You don't have the luxury of, like, maybe, like, closing one eye and keeping one eye open. Like, if you close that one, it's done. So I wonder how this is going to affect him in the future. So a lot of really good setup. Like I said, My Hero Academia isn't bad right now. It's just, the change of pace has been jarring. What we've been focused on has been jarring. The trailer reveal was a little bit underwhelming. So there's been some weird things going on. But all in all, I'm still excited for the series. I'm still excited to see where it's going. I'm still wanna, I'm still curious about the mysteries of All for One. I'm still curious to see what the students have to offer. I'm still curious to see what the villains have to offer, because we forget, because we're focused so much on the main cast, that they're trying to show they're mastering their powers too. They're going to show us new abilities as well. They have resolve as well. So yeah, I look forward to it. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to end the video here. This has been Otaku Talk. I'm your host, OD, and I wish you guys a great night and a great beginning to your weekend. Good night. Take care. Please, if you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe. Take care.